Hey gang, we are in Bloomington, Illinois. We're at Evergreen Cemetery on a beautiful summer morning. Why are we here? Well, this is where a little girl is buried who is the namesake of the famous Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So in 1900, L. Frank Baum wrote the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and of course the movie followed. The main character, Dorothy Gale, was named after, inspired by the little girl that's buried here. And her grave is like right over here. There's an amazing statue too. It's carved out of a tree. The parents, Thomas, Sophie, Gage, has baby girl named Dorothy. Sadly, 5 months later, she passed away. The doctor said that it was a problem with the brain, congestion of the brain, they called it, which at the time could have been meningitis, it could have been a brain tumor, but it's called congestion of the brain, and she died. Of course, everybody was completely devastated. The aunt, one of the aunts, her name was Maud Baum. She was married to L. Frank Baum, and she was particularly devastated. And that's the connection. Now here you see this tree that had to come down, and they hired this woodworker, chainsaw woodworker, to carve this. Of course, that is the image of Judy Garland, who starred in The Wizard of Oz there with Toto. And I believe here is the yellow brick road carved in, or a interpretation of the yellow brick road. But yeah, what a great job. Let's stand back and take a look at this. So you get a better view of her. Yeah, wonderful job here. It's kind of hard to see. I've got the sun is behind us. I'll try to get an angle over here. Maybe we can see with the tree in the background. The light meter won't. Let's come back here. Really did a great job. Looks just like looks like Judy Garland. There we go. I mean, for a chainsaw, guys, it's pretty good, wouldn't you say? Look at the hair coming down, and she's got the basket. Every time I see the basket and I see Toto, I think of the witch of the West, right? So her grave, let's see here, it's marked by the two bushes. So if you come here, it's just behind the statue, carved in the tree between these two bushes. Yeah. So Maud, you see Mr. and Mrs. L. Frank Baum, niece of, namesake for Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. November 11th she passed, 5 months old, 1898. So that was a couple years before that book came out. So the timing is right. Yeah. So Maud Baum had to be practically hospitalized from the trauma of the emotion of this little girl's death, Dorothy Louise Gage. And out of sympathy, L. Frank, he was known to use names of people he knew for the characters in his books. So it's by no coincidence. This is the little girl that inspired, well, the name the name. So here's the original marker. Dorothy Louise, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. T.C. Gage, Thomas Gage. June 11th, 1898. November 11th, 1898. Yeah. So there it is. Just wanted to stop by. Sharon suggested this about 6 months ago. Sharon, one of our viewers, Sharon L. She's a massive collector, as a number of people are, of Wizard of Oz memorabilia. I know Kimberly, one of our friends, and used to manage our moderation on the channel. She's a big collector. So, yeah. Well, I know the family, Thomas and Sophie, they moved to Aberdeen, South Dakota after this happened. They weren't here, so they're not buried here. Dorothy's all by herself, 5 months old. Rest in peace, Dorothy. Rest in peace.
Together 3 times. And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.